In accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts executive order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, we're conducting this meeting in a hybrid model, both virtually and in person. The Cemetery Committee is conducting this meeting on June 5th at 4 p.m. On the Zoom platform and in person in accordance with the town's policy directives and guidelines issued April 1, 2020 and amended May 7th, 2022. If you're recognized, please state your name and your address. The meeting is being recorded. I, Jeff Walton, hereby call this meeting to order. All committee votes will be taken via roll call. We will start with an attendance roll call of committee members. When I announce your name, please reply. Brian Davidson. Here. Jerry Susi.
Here. Priscilla
Sturgis.
Here.
Jeff Walton here. And Bridget Rodriguez. Absent. She's not waiting in the room, is she?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. And I have deeds to sign, which I will do after the meeting.
Seven.
Next proposed cemetery committee meeting is September 4th after a summer off. Well deserved, I'm sure. Most of the
You
committee.
guys don't meet in the summer?
What?
You don't meet in the summer?
This has been the
Oh,
tradition for the
cool.
last several years.
I
right?
didn't know that.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's the same way with West Concord Advisory Committee. We usually skip the summer.
Yeah. Okay.
I assume somebody will send me deed signings. If I need to do it, just notify me if I need to
If
come
we get
in.
a bunch, we'll give you a call.
Yeah.
Ask you maybe to stop into the townhouse and sign them.
Okay.
There's only a couple. I tell people they'll get them in September and they're usually okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if we, for some reason, get a bunch, we'll give you a call.
All right. All right. Does anybody have any comments on the September 4th meeting? Does that work for everybody? Yep. Okay. Now we're going to go through the minutes of the 3rd and the April 3rd and May 1st, 2024. Let's do April 3rd first. Does anybody have any comments on the April 3rd minutes?
I don't have a question on the minutes themselves, but just towards the end there of D3, where we talked a little bit, we had been talking about the budget, and I think Priscilla, you had kind of raised whether or not we should have maybe a discussion a little bit more on that, or Rod said that there could be further discussion on the budget, and I was wondering, Mr. Chair, if you were planning on putting that in September, or is it saying to have such a discussion?
I think we probably will. This came at the same time of the discussion of the committee. I mean, the town having us fund everything out of the committee, the cemetery fund. That's really the genesis of this. And we did have some of this budget review discussion, but it really didn't address fully, as you're saying, the ongoing maintenance and care. So, I guess, Aaron, do you have suggestions on how we can go forward? I mean, this budgeting is still fairly confusing to me on the seeing an actual, what is our actual assets at the current time, liabilities, so on and so forth. And how long will we have to, in our current budget, if we have to keep funding everything 100% out of the committee? So I'm not sure if you have a thought on the best way to project that.
I think the best way would be to involve the accounting department, finance, to have them look at that and provide some comments back. I know there is a new CFO and assistant financial officer for the town. They're diving into the different budgets, how they're funded, including cemetery fund.
Yeah.
I could reach out to them and see if if they have a comment for some meeting.
Yep.
I know that Bob had attended some of that meeting. I think we referenced in April, excuse me. But it's training for the budget.
Yeah.
Well, the cemetery fund.
Yeah.
It's great. Separate from like the operating budget.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that money being used that way?
basically 100% cemetery fund
Oh.
versus operating.
You know, I think
At
that's,
the
I,
town.
and so that's a decision that's made at, you know, the town manager, CFO level, right? And they're looking at numbers and projecting. I know that the folks that were involved last year are gonna be, you know, they were involved in the budget process are different folks now, like since the
Mhm.
FY 24, so FY 24-25 budget process. It started as, like I mentioned, as a CFO and assistant CFO. so
Right.
So they probably will have, so they might have different ways. Looking at how they're going to fund the budget, this cemetery budget moving forward, I don't know how it was, so, but I can inquire. You know, that we will start our budgeting process late summer, early fall. I'll have a better idea from September. You know, what that looks like. As far as the budget goes, the operating budget, the capital budget for the department, that's something we put together on a department level. Proposed budget request and send that forward. And then how they fund that is outside of our department.
So you feel that whatever they decide is
I would, so I don't have a strong feeling in the way. My background is not in accounting or
Right.
finance. Right, that's their kind of their.
Right.
They're more their purview. We haven't at a department level got involved in that decision one way or the other. But I don't want to speak for how the town is, determining the town as a whole, determining how they're, you know, funding the budget sources are. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I can arrange to have them, those folks, appropriate folks, provide some feedback back to the committee.
I think that'd be really helpful. You know, understanding they've got new team in, they're gonna be doing things a new way. It might be a good time to get ourselves on their radar and just kind of ask them how they're processing it and some of our questions. Obviously, they're still probably sorting out their policies and procedures, but if you could get us a contact and ask about that.
I mean, I can definitely provide you the contact if you want to reach out to the individual directors. Great question. No, that might be the most clear way of addressing. Your specific question.
And as a committee, we can give our opinions on things, you know, to it's one of our mandates in our charter, you know, again, to provide a voice, you know, now. We don't get to determine how it all ends up, but as a committee, we want to consider, do we want to have a voice vis-a-vis a letter,
Right.
you know, to the town manager that they could evaluate as they evaluate many inputs that we do budget stuff. Maybe for September. So again, I didn't have any problems with the minutes, but just questions about that.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. What we might want to do is ask for the committee, if there are specific questions, we can consolidate those. And then as Aaron gets me the contact, I can put those into a letter and send them off for the committee if you all authorize me to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to double check, because if they're giving you the questions. Let me check, because I just want to make sure we're not violating open meeting law.
Yeah, absolutely. So you let me know what you could, we can
So,
send them all to
yeah,
you and you can
Right.
consolidate them and send them to me.
Yep, so that might be the way to go, so
Yeah.
I'll double check, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah, it's probably better to do it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
And then we can, I'll draft a letter and share it. If we're not meeting over the summer, can I just share it by email to you and then we send it around? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know if I need a motion for that. Okay. It's a draft letter?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Thank you.
And just, were these meetings taped? I didn't see them on the Minuteman Media.
Yes, so they were. I know that they, at least a couple weeks ago, I hadn't seen it, so I double checked to make sure that they would put it on there. So it should be up there shortly if it's not already. Yeah.
So let's see if I had any.
Actually review his presentation, the gentleman that came. 'Cause-
Bob.
Yeah,
Well, and I think it's great information. I mean, in theory, the community would be able to have
Yeah.
access to it.
I'm just conscious when a new team coming in and probably reordering everything, we may have a little bit of
Yeah.
problem getting our voices heard, which is getting in early is probably a good idea. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes from April 3rd.
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes as drafted for April 3rd, 2024.
I'll second.
And vote on the minutes. Actually, why don't we do the second round and then second round minutes and we can vote on both at the same time. All right, so the next round of minutes is the May 1st minutes. Does anybody have any comments or questions on these? And I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So I'll make the motion to approve both the minutes of April 3rd, 2024 and May 1st, 2024 as drafted.
And I second.
Motion's been made to approve the minutes from April 3rd and May 1st. Committee vote, Jerry,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Patricia,
Aye.
Jeff, aye. So we're through the minutes and on to the operations and maintenance update.
Afternoon, Aaron McCloskey, Highway and Ground Superintendent. So last month, landscaping is continued on, including spring cleanup, secondary, and regular mowing schedule. Throughout growing season, sometime as well. Early May, Mayor Clint House worked with cemetery staff to put out flags and better lot. For Memorial Day, recognition of some annual ongoing practice. Regarding the mausoleum, we have a pre-construction meeting, CPW staff, the contractor, and the owner's representative on June 13th ahead of them starting construction or resuming construction, starting construction on the vertical parts of the building. We are continuing on, have approval from town manager to engage in a contract with HSI. They're the design firm who is working with us. Concept plan for the lot layout expansion, Studio, the newer sections. Actually have a purchase order that just opened today and available, and we're working on getting the contract executed stuff. So, the stone wall design work being completed by Wright Pierce Engineers has been ongoing. They're about 75% complete with the design documents for stone wall reconstruction, stone walls, Rusty Hollow, Old Hill, South Bay. Basically all the stone wall cemetery property directly by us. Once that design work is complete, we'll be looking to move forward with construction. We have staff attended the Historic Districts Commission meeting recently and was able to get approval for the signs until in South Bay. Just a reminder, this is kind of rules and regulation signs that would be installed just inside the entrance to those two cemeteries. This would be similar to the existing signs that are in Sleepy Hollow currently. So because of the location, we're required to HDC for review approval received there. Installation. And so we're in the sign. 250th celebration next year. Some of the we're gonna talk about, a lot.
So during the month of May, we had 2 full burials, 8 interments of cremated remains, and sold 5 single grave lots. We also had a successful Memorial Day, which was good. We just finished planting today. We finished planting a whole row of shrubs behind Ivy Path, the newest cremation section up in the Knoll area. Something we've been trying to get done for a long time. Finished today. Pretty good. And Doug and I attended the Mass Cemetery Association's annual meeting 2 weeks ago. I don't remember when. And it was good. Yeah, the 2 speakers were actually really good speakers, but spoke mostly to private cemeteries, for that. It was about, branding and logos, things that, we have a logo, it's our town seal.
Yep.
It's a good one. Yeah, we're happy with it. We represent it. But they were interesting and obviously some networking. I was able to talk to a few people about planning of cemeteries and just get ideas about how other people do things. And we'll be attending the New England Cemetery Association's meeting in Salem next month. This month, it's June, where Kevin will be speaking.
I think I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, Kevin is actually speaking about the Friends of Sleepy Hollow. The story of the Friends of Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. And then there's a man speaking from Izzard Consulting about the cemetery of the future. So sounds kind of interesting, about, especially since we're going to be taking a new area. Yeah.
Thanks. I mentioned I'd be really, I was interested to get an update from you. Was there a lot of discussion, any discussion about any new regulations or changes coming down? I realized several states were looking at, and I think it was going through the Mass legislature also, about body composting.
There's 2 bills in the legislature right now that deal with alkaline hydrolysis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't affect us in any way.
Yeah,
But there are 2 bills in the Mass legislature right now.
interesting.
That's our update.
And it's not really body composting. It's
The liquid
that's a different,
composting.
this liquid,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a liquid production.
Okay. Any other questions for the team? No? Okay, lot repurchase requests.
This is for Maureen Malloy. She has two grave lots. The older section of Sleepy Hollow, 163 Gilmore Avenue. And 166 Gilmore Avenue, both empty. Nobody's been insured there. And she does not need them anymore. So she wants to sell them back to us for half of our current rate, so a total of $4,400.
Which, that's in the Knoll section?
No,
It's in the old section. Oh, okay. The old section down at the bottom, kind of the new section, part of the old section?
it's up in the Pines,
Okay,
the area that opened in the 50s. Well, actually, it was a road up there that we took out 25 or 30 years ago and put graves there. And she bought some. So they weren't sold in the 50s, they were just sold probably in the 90s. She doesn't need them.
any comments or questions on the lot repurchase request?
No, but I'll make a motion to, if there's no further discussion, to approve the repurchase request by the.
I'll second that. Vote on the repurchase request. Patricia,
I,
Jerry,
Aye.
Brian isn't.
Priscilla.
it's okay.
I have a fundamental. block
I
in my
know,
head.
that's what happened.
Hey, you got it. You got it.
Which one is it?
Yeah.
It's really okay.
Okay, and Jeff Walton, so that passes. And I think, next we have, Jerry's gonna give us a presentation from, conference
we have an
limits.
ownership.
Oh,
Hi, well, yeah, I just wanted to take a few minutes to share.
hang on one
some-
second, Jerry. I'm sorry, we have one more, amendment to go through, D3. Rotondo, lot ownership relinquish, meant, I'm not sure how that process works.
What is that? Well, how is it different from
Um,
a repurchase?
We're not buying it back.
Oh, they're just,
So here's, Helen Rotondo is the second wife of the lot owner. The lot owner, his first wife is interred there. He is now interred there. Following his death, following mass general laws, she inherited ownership rights to this lot. She intends to be buried with her first husband in a different lot, someplace else.
Mm.
She doesn't want ownership rights to this lot. She wants only his children to have ownership rights to this lot. She doesn't want her children to inherit ownership rights to this lot. This has come up a few times with the second spouse. So what she wants to do right now is relinquish all ownership rights that she might have inherited to that lot and get her name off of it and make it be known that only
belongs
Mr.
to the
Rotundo's
kids.
children have any ownership rights here.
wow,
Yes.
confusing.
Yeah, so he would, well, there so wouldn't be any change, it'd just be in his will.
He should have put it in his will, but he didn't.
Okay,
So she inherited rights to it,
okay,
just because that's mass general law.
Yeah.
She was married to him when he died. So she did inherit rights that she didn't want. And she wants to just, to keep everything clean. At this point, relinquish her rights to that. So she's written us a notarized letter stating that. And we just have to, you just have to vote to accept that. And then
go ahead, sorry.
we can update the records to show that she did not inherit any, that she does no longer have any ownership rights to this lot.
Would they, are we required at that point to notify the kids and get them to, accept the deed of the lot? Or
No, they already have ownership rights.
they already have
Yeah.
ownership, so
Yep.
there's no loose ends to tie up, she just wants to
We just want to
have it
get
off
name
her
off
money.
of it.
Yeah.
Yep, officially off, yeah.
Got it.
Yep, so we just attach this to the lot card, we attach to the deed, so if anything comes up, if her kids ever came in someday and said, we think we want this, we can say, no, your mother wrote a note years ago. You know,
So, motion on the lot ownership relinquishment by Rotondo. Anybody make the motion?
Well, I mean, I'm happy to make the motion to accept Ms. Rotondo's lot ownership relinquishment as outlined in.
Brian?
I'll second it.
Priscilla? Vote? Jerry?
Aye.
Jeff, I. Brian? Priscilla?
Aye.
Okay. Now we get to Jerry's presentation. Sorry about that, Jerry.
Not a problem, not a problem. I appreciate it. I really just wanted to take a few minutes to share with you a brief visit to Cedar Creek, Cedar Brook Burial Ground in Maine. Justine, do you have that PDF
I do. Hold on one second. and then
Okay. There's just a few images that we'll scroll to. I just wanted to folks to kind of have a virtual visit to an established green cemetery, what it looks like, where they're going with it, all of that. Oh, terrific. Thanks. All right. So the first kind of image after my creative title slide here.
Is that?
Yes. So this is just looking up the access road, kind of like to the end where there's a shed. And there are grave sites on both sides of this main road. The next image is taken inside the shed, and there's a big mounting where they've got, a map of the whole place and a list of people who bought graves. And just to point out, this is kind of like the overall layout. The road that we saw at the beginning is this road kind of running across the middle from left to right, kind of up to the right-hand corner. That's the main road out there.
Mhm.
Justine, can we go to the next image? Thanks. There was on this property, there was already a family cemetery that had been established back in, I think it was in the 1800s. And that gave the property owner, who is buried here now, the idea of using this place as a cemetery. He was very concerned about the fate of his 150-acre parcel, wanted to protect it from development, and this is how they're maintaining it. So this map is over in the shed. Could we look at the next image? And you can see that they've been updating the layout every couple of years. The next one. They've sold down to 528 burial sites so far, and there are 640 that have been identified. We could take a look at the next one. And it's kind of weird and kind of spooky. I mean, that's my grave, and the one above it is where my wife Jean is buried. We could take a look at the next. So again, now we've kind of gone to the left of that road, and this is kind of one of the original burial areas. You can see a stone pretty much in the foreground. It also is a mess. We got there after a pretty heavy storm moved through, and there were trees down all over the place. This cemetery is located about 45 minutes west of Portland. So it's kind of interior rural Maine. Take a look at the next image. And okay, so now we're looking toward where Jean's grave is. And that big limb had fallen down onto her grave. We'll take a look at the next image. And yeah, so you could see there's a fresh stump right in the background. A big tree he had to take down, limbs all over the place. The woodlot manager, Gary, is also the caretaker for the cemetery. And at Jean's burial, he participated. He's Tish's counterpart. They are the final caregivers, the final caretakers. The next image is a close-up of Jean's stone. And I had to kind of push accumulated pine needles and stuff away to reveal it. And also kind of at the 11 o'clock position from Jean's stone, that's my stone. And there's a little marker site. The sites are identified by geolocation, coordinates, really, really refined. And they also have these little things that they bury that they could find with a metal detector. And then obviously when someone is buried, they've got a stone marking. And then I think there's just one last image after this. Yeah, so that's the stone. Characteristics of a green cemetery, and certainly characteristics of Cedar Brook. It's a natural setting. It's a managed woodlot. And the stones are stones that are from the site. So when you go to buy a lot, she takes you in the golf cart over to where they've got all their pile of field stones, and you could pick your stone. So that's it. That's just, again, something that I just wanted to share that visit with you. And thank you.
Jerry, can I ask a question?
Certainly.
You said a managed woodlot, so they're harvesting lumber from this site, or is it just, what do you mean by that term?
Well, yeah, so the whole 150-acre parcel is a managed woodlot. And so, yeah, they're harvesting that shed is used for cordwood. I know they move a lot of cordwood out of there. Yeah. The cemetery, the marked areas right now only take up about 1.25 acres or 1.5 acres of the total parcel, but it could be expanded at any time, kind of like anywhere on the property. So.
Oh, and they had the 600 sites laid out. Do you know if they did that themselves or they use some kind of, firm, so
Yeah,
they.
yeah, there's some surveyors that come in. Yeah, and I don't know if it's a subset of, or if it's a special skill, but yeah, it all gets done and documented and everything. I mean, and Tish could tell you more about, it's probably the same as how it's done everywhere.
I was just wondering, do they do any maintenance besides big tree removals if they come down, or is it pretty much conservation grounds?
Yeah, it's a natural setting. I've been there in high summer where that area is like knee deep in ferns,
Yeah.
and it's gorgeous. And you've got, the tall white pines and that real thick carpet of pine needles. So, but it's not park-like by any means. It's a natural setting. It's the woods of Maine.
So do the stones, the marker stones get sort of buried in pine needles and
Um,
how do they?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I've cleared away from, on my visits, I've always kind of like cleared away from the edge. Yeah.
Because you know where they are.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I mean, all the sites are located. And one time when I did have trouble locating it, I was kind of disoriented.
Yeah.
I just texted Joyce, who lives on the property, and she came over in the golf cart and brought me right to it.
Oh.
So,
Interesting.
So you just sort of unearth it, I guess.
Well,
Through
it's
the
not,
pine needles.
not
Yeah.
that different from the cemetery cleanup at your local church over, the family plot.
Kind of, but this seems more that there'd be a lot more cover.
there's definitely a difference in walking around. There are definitely some sites where people visit frequently, where the site is very clearly kind of maintained by visitors. And in one instance, the owner described, or actually, when I bought the two lots, she brought me by this one particular lot that was pretty kind of like decorated. And it was for a child who, died of a childhood cancer. And she said, look, I'm not going to tell that family they can't do it, but I tell everybody else, this isn't what we do here.
I have one last question, because this, I've worked a lot in orthopedics. Do they take people that have, hip and knee replacements? Because I
Yeah.
knew in the past.
Jean's got two total hips.
Okay,
If she had been cremated or gone through alkaline hydrolysis, they would have recovered them. But yeah, they'll be there forever. Titanium and plastic.
thank you.
That's
Very
an
interesting.
question.
Very interesting.
When you talk about the future of the death care industry and different methods of final disposition, there is a very strong push toward sustainable practices, and green burial is identified as one. Alkaline hydrolysis, basically using strong solutions to dissolve a body, is less energy intensive than flame cremation. So that's viewed as being much more sustainable. And finally, natural organic reduction, what we refer to as composting, particularly in urban areas. Tish was featured in an article a few years ago in Boston Magazine, which was basically, talking about cemeteries as high price real estate, location, location, location. Can't find a decent place to get buried in Concord anymore without spending an arm and a leg. Right?
Very interesting. Any other comments or questions? Well, thank you very much.
That's great, Jerry.
I'd love to, if you could send around the website for them, or just tell us what the place is.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, it's easy to find. It's Cedar Brook Burial Ground, and it's in Leamington, Maine. And it is one of the very few green burial sites in New England.
Yeah. Great. Any other questions or comments on this? All right. Thank you, Jerry. Updated, D5, updated, Sleepy Hollow map.
Yes. I do, I have hard copies and I can share it as well.
So, previously discussed at the cemetery committee meeting, was the map and just updating the map. So,
All right, getting them. Oh, I didn't. Sorry. Now it's broken. Stop. Install it.
The map doesn't want to be updated.
What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna close Jerry's presentation.
I think
There we go.
so we've updated the map. We've been working with our GIS department to provide us with the draft. We're gonna work to try to finalize this and get it published and pushed out. But we wanted to share it with the committee to get comments before we get final update. Get this out live. So we have included here, the kind of the graves of interest are on here.
That will be on the back,
List,
the
you know,
list is
list
on the
of
back.
items provided previously to be on the road. It's more color coded, the other one was like black and white. So we've added some color here, to kind of stand out, and help people kind of navigate, pick up some of the fonts. And we've included the QR code also on the left-hand corner, people to kind of link through to the website and the tour. But this lot, or this map focuses on mainly the occupied areas of the cemetery, with existing homes per se. But just wanted to share it with the groups. We discussed it previously. There was some interest in seeing an updated version. So, Tish and Justine and like I said, our GIS team on this to try to get it updated. We don't want to totally change a lot of too many things. Kind of keep some of the same kind of feel, if you will. But open the comments and suggestions. If there are any.
Looks great. It's so much more legible.
Yeah.
So that was the main.
So with the QR code, I hit that. Where do I go? What site am I going? I'm gonna go to our Sleepy
Do it.
Hollow Cemetery.
Live right now. if you
Graves of
wanna- if you
interest,
wanna-
Jill did, yeah.
Turn my phones off. Or
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
My right hand. No, sure.
Depends on your service, yeah.
So there's a webpage that is a.
It's not coming. Oh, there it is.
Okay.
And it kind of takes you like a guided electronic tour, self-guided
Yeah.
electronic tour of the graves, and there's a photo of the site on the website.
Oh, great.
It's cool.
That is great. And, hopefully we have enough cell coverage when we get out to them.
Well, not
Bad.
there.
It's not bad at the cemetery.
It's not?
No, I have service on both my phones.
Really?
Like, not in Concord Center.
Well, not here in this
No.
driveway, parking lot either.
Not downtown, but at cemetery, it's not bad.
All right. Next time I have to do a conference call, go to the cemetery instead of trying to get it here. Well,
This
it's,
is great.
yeah, it really does look great.
Thank you for showing it to us.
Very helpful.
So no, sorry, so are the numbers just graves? So like I think of like a cannon, you know, and some part and stuff like that. Is that like?
The GAR lot's not on here, for the grave life.
Everything?
Yeah, it isn't. I mean, it could be, but it's
So these ones are just graves, correct?
Sure.
Those
It
numbers-
might be on the Friends of, I don't know.
I don't know,
In the
if
car.
yeah. I don't know.
It might be on the Friends of Sleepy Hollow Cemetery.
No.
I don't know whether it is or not. It's
I don't
not that
think so.
interesting.
No,
Well, that's it. People walk by and you see a cannon kind of pointed at it. So, but I mean, I understand this is just graves and I totally get it. Because there's not.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's 3
Point of
Civil War
interest.
veterans buried there, but
But in the box, is there a place where it says see reverse?
there's 2 pages in the box.
There is?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, that's right,
The
because
top of
it's
the box. So,
Collins,
yeah, we'll
that's
replace-
right, that's
yeah,
right.
We'll replace.
I
we'll
forgot
Probably put a new bottom in just because they do get a little weathered, but
Yeah,
we'll replace both pages.
Yeah. okay,
Great.
that's great. Thanks.
All right, any other comments on the map? We don't need to do anything, no approval needed from us, okay. Master plan review sections. I don't know if everybody got a chance to look at, section 1 and section 2 of what was, previously, put together, from Rod's revision. And want to get people's comments so that we can approve these changes, at least to the final, move it to the final draft. I had a conversation with Aaron, and one thing that came up is that it's not clear where the 60-year lot availability goal came from. And whether or not, if as we figure out what our projected availability is that the right benchmark to use? I don't know. I'd like to understand where it came from. So I was planning to go back through the minutes and see if we could find it. And I didn't know, Andrea, if you came across anything in the past, or maybe when they were planning out the knoll, they had some framework for why they came up with the 60 years.
I think Tish would know better than me.
No.
I don't recall where that came from, honestly. I think it was just somewhere in town records or in a previous meeting from maybe like the 1980s or something.
I think, the knoll and the land around it, originally, the thought was that it would be a 50 to 100 year supply. So, in the very first master plan, they talked about a 100-year supply. So 2 years later, 60 probably sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
But there isn't, that was one of the things that I did talk to people about, and I have talked to Linda Women Cemetery Association to see if there's any projected formula that they use, and there isn't. He said, you know your trends, you know what you need, because you know what you do. Every cemetery is different. We're over 70% cremation.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what check. We weren't over 70% cremation 30 years ago. So projections would have been different. So it's hard to project out that far because the trends are going to change.
And trends have changed in the last 10 years. So I seem to recall, I'm not going to put you on the spot, Jerry, but I'm going to put you on the spot. It seemed to recall there was discussion at some point about wanting to look at the trends and kind of analyze where things might be going. Am I recalling your interest in that correctly?
Well, I mean, I like the Green Cemetery visit and stuff. I keep an eye on this stuff and I follow up with what catches my interest. As far as projecting or methods to project, requirements in a cemetery, I have no idea what the methodology is or where to start. I don't think it's an arbitrary number, whatever number it is. There has to be some rationale, and whether that's based on population or historical trends or death rates, or, as Tish just mentioned too, the difference between people interring cremated remains, which take up very little space, versus, a full-on vault and casket burial. So a lot of things play into it. I mean, I think it's worth kind of exploring what other cemeteries have done or are doing. That's kind of what I have to contribute at this point.
Did we, when in the planning for the new section of the plot layouts, they'll be able to give us an idea how many plots they're gonna be able to get into. Is it the entire Knoll section that they're gonna lay out, or will we have additional land?
Yes, we,
This-
it's, let me see if I can. So what the area is, yeah, so they're looking at, do you have that map of building?
This one?
Okay, you can picture it down. So with that one. Well, this map, looking at that
Okay.
map. There's access from the road, from Bedford Street in to the circle.
Yep.
So as you enter, they're looking at the grassy areas on either side of the road.
Right.
For the wood line on both sides that don't have existing lots. And then as we're going into and taking a left, clockwise, take a left onto the circle, all of the grassy area up into the wood line, all the way north to the cemetery building area is all vacant, that open space.
Yeah.
So laying out all of it.
Okay.
So essentially, when we're done, all of the, if you were to visit the cemetery now, all of the open space, grassy mowed areas, exclusive of where there's a couple of historical markers referenced in the area where the proposed columbarium may be, will be laid out in the lots. So yes, we will have a definitive number of lots available, as well as the area marked out for potential columbarium.
And the lots, if I recall correctly, one full body or 4 remains each lot? Is it gonna stay the same? That's how we're gonna, or are we looking at it differently?
So we gave them size dimensions for existing lots, and essentially how many of those can you fit in these areas. But again, also remember that we are also, as part of the project, we're also laying out roadways where we get access to them.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna be, blocks of lots, the entire area, there's gonna be roads past.
Sure.
That we can access.
Sure.
But we will have a definitive number account. We'll be able to kind of look at, our trends on, we have the numbers too. We're averaging 78, 79, or 70, 77 lots sold for the last 10 years each year. Project out, we're continuing with that trend, and that average. How many years worth of lots we have.
Jerry?
Yeah, thanks. I did just find a piece, and I'll send it to Justine, from the Planning Commissioner's Journal. Sounds like a very specialty journal, but it's about planning for cemeteries. And there's a box here about forecasting capacity. So just as a matter of general interest, I'll share this with Justine.
So, the plan is to have the lot analysis done by October, I think. Is that correct?
We are. Probably take a couple months, so if they can get started here small. Take for the summer. We'll have some type of concept. I don't know. It's my first time, going through this process. And what we have from them is in what's funded so far is a concept level design for just under $10,000. $9,000 for $9,000 for concept level, and then from there, once we finalize the concept level, we continue on to the detailed design, construction design that we can then put out for construction of roads, in underground utility. I would say the concept probably does. But I would also say that I'm gonna bring the concept, once we have, some draft concept plans, those are coming before.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, staff aren't gonna make the final decisions on the layouts, like we'll bring you recommendations, right, and discuss those with the committee members, so that the committee members are involved in the design and how it's gonna. So, I'm sure that by September we'll have some updates.
Great, great. So we'll get that on the agenda for September. And I'll look forward to reading through Jerry's lot projections. I guess we'll wait and find out how many lots we're gonna be able to come up with and see at the basic level where we are compared to a 60-year, flat out projection, and then decide at that point if we need to take it further. I mean, if we have 10 times the number of lots available than we project we're gonna need, then the discussion's probably over for us for right now. But in the projections, in the master plan, we kind of laid out, if we did find that we were short, a series of things to potentially consider for expansion. And I think most of those things got added in, as well as our plan to have a ongoing tracking mechanism of availability once we get how many lots we're going to be able to have. So section 1.1, anybody have any additional comments at this point?
On the third bullet, I thought maybe perhaps we should be, which is identifying options in West Concord.
Yeah.
That I thought that perhaps that sentence should be a little bit more broader and to identify other options in town.
Yeah.
Including West Concord.
Yeah.
So just to make, because I do think that, as different lots come up, I'm thinking of like West Concord with the Star Map location, people are making decisions today and that we should be thinking about, should we be having our voice heard? So I would probably just try and draft something a little bit more general and then say specific or include.
So I will make a note of that to make that change. Let's see. I'm wondering, as part of the planning, the non-traditional graves, how we, in the past, how do we count the non-traditional graves in the mausoleum space as part of the availability? I don't know if those are projected differently. We haven't done that.
We haven't had any.
Yeah. So we don't know yet. But a lot of this is projection of space, and there's a lot of different options for, as we have in here, non-traditional stuff, and we had a variety of interests and lack of interest as far as I've heard over the years. So if we do need to expand, we probably need to get a good level input, what people are really interested in.
We do have a list of people waiting for the columbarium.
That's good news. All right. Any other comments on section 1 in supply? What I think we'll do is, after we get through all these, we'll put out a final draft and then bring it back to the committee to go through. All right. Section 2 is operations. Our favorite topic is 2.1 funding source. Any comments there?
Sell more mausoleums.
Yes. With naming opportunities. 2 operations.
With like 2.1, I don't, with the funding sources, we have 35% and 65%. But those are really flexible numbers, and obviously we've seen sometimes it's 100%. It's also been 30-70 for like the last 2 or 3 years before. So, I mean, I don't know if those percentage numbers, the 35-65 should be moved, or because they are kind of in date, or are those kind of what we're trying to say would be the ideal?
The past minutes regarding this were to try to get back to that funding source partially from the cemetery fund and partially from the town. And I think the 65-35 was explicitly put back in there in days gone by. I don't know if anybody knows when, but it's the last couple of years it's been funded by the cemetery fund. So
Yeah, but not at those percentages. So it's been the general funds been 30%, and the
Yeah.
cemetery funds at 70% for the last 2 or 3 years. Going back, historically back.
so we don't have a good benchmark for what the past has been. It's just fluctuated over the years.
Well, it fluctuates based on budgetary kind of discussions and determinations, just like it changed to 100%. In some years, it's within, sometimes it's 30-70. Certain other times it has been 35-65. I'm just saying that when we write it, makes it almost look like, that's kind of there's some formula there, and it's not really. It's really a data point that changes year to year based on nothing that the committee has to do and nothing that the public works folks have to do. Some of the town managers budgetary constraints. So when I look at it there, for future, again, the master plan seems to suggest that that's the numbers that it should be.
So maybe I'll propose a change that says historically it's been funded by the town's general fund and the cemetery revolving fund, and take out the percentages. And the goal, I think, would remain the same.
We could do a range.
Well, it's really not up to us, though. We can advocate, and maybe we say we advocate for fair division of the budget, as in past ranges of 30-70%. That sounds okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Past practice.
All right.
I also have a question in the goal section of 2.1 where it says, we're going, the dedicated fundraising effort should be
Yeah, I
included.
was just about to ask that.
Yeah, so I mean, as the cemetery committee, we don't necessarily do fundraising. We certainly do grants through the CPC, but fundraising, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't do that.
Support.
That's what the Friends of City Hall does.
Should we take out that whole sentence and just go to grant money should continue to be
I think the whole sentence should come out.
the whole sentence?
Whose color is yellow? I don't have the cube. Do you know, Justin?
No, I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Because in that section, it also says that interment fees and lot sale prices are reviewed annually. Have we been doing that? Was that on the calendar?
Yeah, staff do that, and I'll get the doc.
Okay,
We just know the data from.
okay, good. All right, thank you. Yeah, I think that sentence just needs to be.
Okay.
That I have to know. But do you really have most?
Thank you.
No,
Or, yeah,
September?
Yeah.
You guys got those photos all right?
Yes, yep, they're
Oh,
perfect, they're,
these two, you
Yep.
too. Okay,
yeah, and I shared them with Tish.
just let me know if they're not what you were looking for, I'm assuming that.
No, I think they looked, I looked at them quickly, I downloaded them and saved them for, in our folder,
Okay.
so.
We didn't get to all.
Some of them look very dirty.
Thank you. Sorry, again, and in 2.1 current status, but last sentence, in recent years, funding has been more controlled by the cemetery revolving fund. And so this last, you should either say the last year, or years as plural.
Well, it's
This
been
is the
2
third.
years now. It was the year before was 100%, and this coming year is 100%.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what we need clarification on, but that's what we anticipate is gonna be, that's FY 25
Yeah.
has already been baked and the budget was 100% as well, so we'll.
Right. So does that answer that?
perfect,
Okay.
yeah.
So I will incorporate those changes, and we have other comments on section 2.
I guess 2.2, the goal, seamless interface between cemetery staff, conflict public works, town clerk, and treasurer's office should be provided. I guess I didn't really understand what that.
No.
Where is that?
It's on 2.2 on the goal,
2.2.
the last sentence, so it's kind of talking about
Yeah.
deed maintenance and deed records. It says data should be back, so develop complete computerized lot records for the Old Hill. Data should be backed up, and then we talked about this seamless interface between cemetery staff, county public works, town clerk, and treasurer's office.
I think that's to have a database that everybody can see to go into, so they don't have to reach out, but I mean,
Yeah, but
you have that already.
Not for Old Hill.
not all Hill
Right.
itself, Main
Yeah.
Street, but hoping to incorporate them the next time we make updates.
I think that was the goal of that comment, was to say, next time we do that, we're gonna try to include those others. Of the overall comment. Yeah, the seamless, the wording is probably not great, but I think you're right. It's just, we need to have a database that everybody can access.
Right.
But you could clarify that it's for the two that are not included right now, like in that sentence if you wanted, since there already is a database, so just
Well,
clarify.
I mean, to me, and happy other people, but I mean, to me, the earlier sentences kind of discuss that. And so develop complete computerized lot record base for all current information for Old Hill, Burial Ground, and Sleeping Ground Cemetery, similar to what has been completed for Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. Great. Data should be backed up and stored remotely. Great. And then we talk about a seamless interface between cemetery staff, Concord Public Works, which the cemetery staff is part of, town clerk, and the treasurer's office should be provided. Because it's, and again, I'm happy, I just didn't understand.
I
But
don't
I'm
think it's
also-
necessary.
It just means that everybody has access to.
Database.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll, if everybody's okay with that, we'll take that out.
Mhm.
And then I will make these changes, and we can move on to sections 3 and 4 in the next.
Yeah.
Is it a new 4 or is it a new 5? We removed one section.
Oh, we'll just keep to the same numbers, because
Yeah.
otherwise we'll get mixed up.
The next two.
The next two. That's an easier way to put it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's good way to put it.
The infrastructure
Oh, it's pains.
and monument restoration.
All right. Moving right along. Next, I believe is chair comments. Thank you for the discussion around the master plan and the new map and materials. These are really going to be helpful, I think, as we go forward and try to create that more accessible knowledge about the cemeteries. And thanks to the town folks for the update on the cemetery meetings. And hopefully Doug got thoroughly initiated into the cemetery culture at the meeting. Did you, is there some kind of razzing or something that goes on with new
I don't know
members?
what it is. You're not allowed to know. Yeah, no, not really.
Is he at least by
It's a
the
nice
first
group of
round? Is
people.
that,
No, they're a good group.
I don't have any other comments. Committee members have comments? Guests, comments, public comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn
The motion to adjourn?
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, wait, do I have to do a roll call?
Roll call.
All right, starting with Jerry,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Jeff, aye. Priscilla,
Hi.
Bridget, aye.
Bridget is now fully confirmed committee member?
Yes.
All right, congratulations. Welcome to Bridget also in my chair comments. We'll put that in.
All right, sorry I was late.
All right, thank you all. Anybody have anything else? Enjoy the beautiful weather we're having.
Oh, it is. It's gorgeous. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Take care, folks.